hopefully they do. They play the Commanders tonight. The Bucks have to win. Beat the Panthers. No, I didn't get to watch much of that game, but when I turned it on, I was like, oh my god, what are we doing?
What's up, everybody? I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're your two average guys. Welcome back to the show. We're glad to be back. Pretty unusual for us to be here in December after Christmas talking about football still, especially Nebraska football. But very exciting to be here, very excited to be back, and very excited to talk about a bowl game and a bowl game victory nonetheless. So, we went to New York City. Well, we did not go, although, if it wasn't over $1,000 for flights to get there and back, I probably would have gone because tickets to the game were not actually that bad. So, but
Yeah,
anyways,
they have 30,000 maybe.
Yeah,
I think is what I saw.
Yeah,
I thought I saw something that they ran out of beer.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Yankee Stadium, do better.
They said they did not,
they didn't expect the amount of Husker fans to travel
I don't know.
and drink.
Maybe it was fake. I don't know.
Loved hearing the Go Big Red chants.
Mm-hmm.
The Go Big Red chants are always fun to hear when we're playing away. Yeah,
bad weather. Bad field.
Jeez Louise.
Glad nobody really got hurt.
Talk about it.
I think Hartzog got hurt, but I didn't really hear about his status. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just looked rough, and they were all dirty. And that's football, I guess, in December.
Yeah, you're playing football in December in New York, although I know the Cowboys and Eagles are playing. It's like 65 degrees in Philly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 65 degrees, and it's almost January, but what's up, Casey?
Well,
Cheers.
I know Barenko sent me a picture. He said he was mowing his lawn, and he said he was like, big man flex today, mowing my lawn on December 29th.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. It was. I was just gonna mention this, Casey. I think the whole football games and baseball stadiums maybe isn't the best thing to do.
Agreed.
Not only that, it ruins the field. I know baseball landscapers or groundskeepers are really good at what they do.
And they got time, but
and it's the off season. But man, they're not. Well, you can wreck Yankee Stadium all you want. I don't care. But seeing the field and how beat up it was playing on that grass, just not really a safe situation for the kids at all.
For sure.
And I think we've seen this just about every year in these games, in the Pinstripe Bowl specifically, but in other games that are played in baseball stadiums, just not the best conditions for them to be playing in. You'd rather play on turf or on a football field with grass because it's to be maintained a lot different. You also have your when you run to outside, how the field is curved. You don't have that on the baseball stadium, so it's a lot different the way you got to play. So you could see they couldn't get their breaks very well. They couldn't make their cuts on their routes. It was really, even though we had 127 yards rushing, we only had 4 yards per carry. I bet if the field was in better condition, I bet we probably would have had 6-7 yards per carry and probably 200 yards rushing.
To be fair, their best. Thankfully, their best player didn't play. That DN that led the country in sacks, he opted out.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe we were up 20-2.
Yeah.
We really could have ran away with it, but we decided to, do what Nebraska does and put everybody on the edge of their seat at the end of the game. But we didn't break the streak. I don't know how many years in a row that the Big Ten's won that bowl game.
Yeah.
But I was like, that would be like us to end that streak, but we didn't.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, we were focused on kind of running the ball, maintaining the clock, Which in those conditions, I don't care. Like, hey, play Big Ten football. Our offensive line was actually playing pretty well in that game. They were blocking well. They were pushing around the Boston College team. And I saw a stat today that said we have the most special teams errors in the country when it comes to block kicks between field goals, extra points, and punts. We have 10 this year. That's almost one per game. That is pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to go.
Well, and one thing I don't understand. If you see the punt block, it's funny. We're still complaining about we won a bowl game, but we'll get to the good stuff.
Right.
It's 20-12, or 20-7, 8. No, 28. Sorry.
8.
No, 9 because they went for 2 and they missed it.
Yeah, so it was 20-8 because they had the 2 points before that.
Yeah, 20-9. They got 6. Oh, they go for 2 when they had 8.
No, they had 2 because they
but then they got a touchdown. They go to 9 or 8.
They went for 2 and
that's
they didn't
right.
get
Okay,
it, so
then
it was
they got
20-8.
okay.
Don't argue with me.
I couldn't remember when they went for 2. So it's 20-8, and we go out there to punt the ball. Whatever, that's fine. The way we lined up for the punt coverage, we went down to punt coverage instead of being in a punt blocking mode.
That's all that they really could have done to try to score.
We know they were going to come and bring pressure. You can tell. They had everyone lined up in the box. Our guys, we had 3 guys run straight forward without putting a hand on anybody. And we had all these gaps on the line, too, and they just ran right through the gaps. I knew right away this is going to be blocked. It's horrible. Ed Foley.
I know. It's hard. Like,
fired
as
his
a player,
ass today.
As a player, and, maybe a lot of those players that were in on that, I'd have to see it, but maybe it was a bunch of freshmen or guys that hadn't played, and we're just getting an opportunity to get in to the bowl game. But wouldn't you be like, hey, they got everybody coming here. Maybe we should hang a little tighter. Maybe don't run. I don't know. Maybe I'll block this guy instead of going where they want me to.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I 100% blame Ed Foley there and his punt coverage call. That's on him. You can't make that call when you know they're going to try to block it.
Yeah,
And the conditions are soft, so you know that Buschini is going to be careful. He's not going to try to make a hard step. Also, is not the quickest at getting the ball to his foot. Didn't have a great game punting already, so
he hadn't really punted much.
Yeah, you got to put all those factors in, and I don't think Ed Foley is the coach. And he showed it over and over again this year that he is not the guy we need as a special team coach. And Matt Rule said complete overhaul of special teams. That means, number one, Ed Foley, we should get news today that he's been fired.
Right.
If he's not, then Matt Rule, you have a problem.
Well, and maybe, I
don't care how old the guy is.
I don't know when they travel back, but when they get back, that needs to be a meeting that happens pretty quick, I would think.
Yep.
It's been obviously quite a while since we've played in a bowl game. I think since the last time we were in a bowl game, the bowl games have changed quite a bit.
Yes.
Even to the point where the last few years, I have not watched very many. I'll turn them on here and there, but usually I just kind of watch the big ones.
Yeah.
But they're completely different than they used to be. Guys, the portal opens before the bowl games, which is really dumb. So then all these players leave and guys opt out.
Yep.
So I didn't go into the game like... I was still hyped to watch a Husker game, but it was like, you know what? It not necessarily a meaningless game, but it just didn't have the same weight for me as a regular season game. So I was like, let's just have fun with this. And that's what they did for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you still want to play well and not do make those mistakes that they made down the stretch. But when it's all said and done, they still won the game.
Yeah, and I think conditions definitely played a factor in that game. Again, I think in better conditions, better weather, I bet we probably put up 40 points. I really do think we would have put up more, and we would have played just as well on defense. Boston College, of course, going through the same thing offensively, but I think our offense was just so much better. They couldn't run the ball, and we did a great job stopping the run, and then their quarterback was just decent at throwing the ball. So I think all those factors, of course, play in. But you could tell when Dylan Riley throwing the ball downfield, he actually overthrew the receivers rather than underthrow.
Yeah,
so I was happier about that.
I agreed.
He didn't really miss any wide open receivers.
Well, and Banks had some unbelievable catches in that game. I think he was awesome.
I think Jamal Banks, again, Nair, I think was our weak spot on the offense when it comes to receivers. I really would have liked to see Jalen Lloyd play a lot more. But seeing what Banks did in that game, he made some incredible catches all year.
Right.
And some people are like, oh, Banks isn't as good as people thought. I actually think he's probably better than what people thought. I don't think we had him running the right routes. I don't think he had a good wide receiver coach that was 30 years old and coaching him.
Right.
I think that was a big problem was our wide receiver coach.
And blocking was he's kind of a liability blocking. But as far as like catching the ball and he had a really good season.
Yeah. But he was a liability blocking because no one told him not to block.
Right.
Like that wasn't a part of the offensive scheme when it came to those passes where here's what I expect from you as a wide receiver. Yeah, it sounds like it should be right, but like you could tell it wasn't an expectation. Nair didn't do it. Banks didn't do it. Nobody blocked on the outside unless you were Borkacher.
Yeah.
Because we know that Fedoni can't make a block either
he missed
as a tight end.
He missed a
bit. Yes, right?
Bad miss yesterday. But
and then we lose Borkacher to A&M.
I know, that sucks.
I know Rex is happy about that. So,
but yeah, I'm sure. How about Harburg blocking though?
Bro, he pancaked a couple dudes.
Yeah,
downfield. not even just like right down. He blocked them downfield and pancaked them.
I'm really excited to see him.
Tight end Harburg
next year.
Tight end Harburg, dude. He came out again. He's a Husker kid. He wants to win. He wants to do whatever it takes for the Huskers to be successful, and that's why everybody loves Harburg is because he's a leader on that team.
Well, and he's got an opportunity, I would think, to play at the next level at a different position. So why not?
Yeah, and if he can still continue to work on his throwing game in some capacity, he can be a guy in the NFL again that you can see making catches, but also throwing some passes and getting in those packages where it's a direct snap and he's running the ball. So we can do it.
You knew we were going to talk about him. Had to.
But yeah, so it's fantastic. I mean, I think Harburg was fantastic. Our running backs, Quentin Ives getting his first career touchdown was fantastic. Cool. Give it to him in a short yardage situation. He's a guy I'm excited for next year, absolutely. Losing Ramir sucks. I know we talked about it before. Ramir and Emmett should have been 1 and 2 all year long. In some capacity, 1 and 2. Doesn't matter who's 1, who's 2. Both those guys played fantastic yesterday. We had 127 rush yards. All 3 guys scored a touchdown. Emmett gets a reception TD.
Yeah, that was.
And then Ramir had a hell of a good game, including the ceiling running behind Ty Robinson.
Yeah.
On that game, ceiling first down, which he had to get because Raiola slid short the first down.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was like it made me think of Will Howard against Oregon when they lost to Oregon by 1.
Yeah,
he slid down later than he should have, and guess what happened?
Yeah, no, awesome. Ramir back home gets a touchdown. Obviously, like you said, that game winning run on 4th and 1.
Yep.
MVP. Rule was being interviewed on the field, and he screamed out, 14, Ramir, get over here. And he said, this is your interview, and he walked away.
Yeah, she wants to talk to you, not to me. She wants to talk, get over here.
And then obviously finding out about his mom and everything, that was cool that he was able to get the MVP of the game.
Yeah, well, it just goes to show the kind of kid he is and the kind of dedication he had to Nebraska and being there for his teammates. Hey, I love my mom, but I need to be there for the guys.
Well,
which, you wouldn't expect as a teammate, but that he only told Emmett. Emmett's the only one that knew that he went back home.
Right.
All those things are just really cool stories, and then you get a guy like Ty and a guy like Raiola up there talking with Ramir after the game, and leaders on that team. It was really cool to see Ramir do what he did. I wish he would have played more throughout the year. He should have been on the field more, passing catches, running the ball. He's a stud, but he made a hell of a good decision coming to Nebraska. I'm glad he stayed. He's one of those guys who probably could have gone and played just about anywhere. His injuries kind of held him back a little bit, but he probably could have gone anywhere else and played.
He really could have, and I mean, I think Will even said, like, he called him in and said, that there's no guarantees for anything for next year, but he wanted to stay, and that's just cool that it went all the way down to the end that way. So.
Well, and big time credit to our seniors who, I don't know if we had any opt-outs. I don't think anybody said I'm not playing. We had Ty in there. We had Nash in there. We had guys in the portal.
Was the only one, but he was a portal guy.
And he said he was going to the NFL. Now he's going to the portal because the NFL scouts are probably like, dude, you can't catch the ball. So good luck.
You could have won 2 more games if you would have caught the ball.
Yeah. But good luck to him. Ty goes in there. Ty sets the tone in that run game, and it's funny in the post game presser. They're like, "Hey, it was great. What did you see behind you when on that final first down?" He's like, I got out there and I go to the right. I see a couple guys, and I start running towards them, and I feel Ramir kind of brush up against my side, and I go to make the hit, and both guys kind of looked at me like, "Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not messing with him." I mean, he was in there on the goal line run for Quentin Ives too, I think. Yeah. So again, like putting him in a position again, he's a guy that wants to win. And I'm surprised he wasn't more emotional because 6-year guy, and he gets not only to play on the offensive side of the ball and make plays, but he finally gets to win and go out a winner.
Yeah.
Nash Hutmaker said the same thing. Coach, like, I'm finally a winner.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you guys are always winners. You two especially were always winners. Talked about coaching up some of those young guys. Vincent Shavers, fantastic game.
He's going to be awesome.
Willis McGahee, fantastic game. Jones, number 37. The dude wasn't even on the depth chart going into the game. He's on the roster, obviously online, but like on the actual depth chart going into that game when it was released, he wasn't even on the depth chart. And he's number 37. He had some great hits. He had a couple pass breakups. The guy was fantastic. He's a sophomore. I looked him up.
Okay.
He played great.
Davis was good too.
Yep. Davis Bennington was in there.
No, but Shavers switched. He switched to number 1.
Yeah, he was number 1.
Yeah, because when he made the I don't know if he got a sack. Yeah, he got a sack. And I was like, wait, who was that?
yeah. Dude, yeah, he was a stud. He played really well. Again, I was just excited to see some of those young guys get their chance. Again, we got to see Bennington in there as well. Or Benning, sorry. We got to see Benning in there. He got some plays. So it was just really cool. Oh, Javin Wright had a great game.
Yeah.
He played really good. Sarah Wright, again, had a great game. We got to see Isaac Gifford catch a pass on the fake punt.
That was crazy.
I mean, how cool was that?
I know, and I've been harping on him all year because he's been a liability. But that was cool because he's another one of those guys, too, that's been around for so long.
Donovan Jones, that's his name. That's Donovan Jones. Again, he had tackle for a loss. He had 3 other solo tackles. I mean, the guy was just all over the place. I was just impressed. Mario Buford was in. Again, Keanu Davis. I think our defense, our young guys, are depleted defense.
Right.
We had so many guys leave.
And they looked almost better.
Yeah.
We looked almost... And I know, they had an O-lineman that left. They had another one that maybe got a little dinged up, and so he quit their starting center. Mm-hmm. He decided not to play the rest of the game. I don't know what their quarterback situation was. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But we looked pretty good on D. I mean, we had how many 4th down stops, on our side of the field even. So really enthusiastic about cautiously optimistic, some might say.
Optimistic. Vincent Shavers, he forced that fumble on the sack that he had. The quarterback picked it right back up. But, again, just a lot of young guys making plays. Now we got a question from Vince on YouTube. Great question, too. Talk about depth, looking at our running back room and our running back depth. I know we got a running back, I believe, from the portal. We have at least 1 or 2 coming in that signed, so incoming freshmen.
One really, decent one coming in that was in the recruiting class. I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head.
But I do think both Johnson and Quentin Ives are going to be our 1-2 punch. Obviously, we lost Irvin. He's leaving. We lost Dowdo. He's leaving.
And then Ramir's done.
So we lost 3 of our 5 guys. In the back, that's a huge loss, right? That's big. But look at our production from this year. Our big part of our production was Emmett Johnson and Dante Dowdle, and Dowdell got 12 touchdowns that were short yardage touchdowns. They weren't long runs. Emmett's our long run guy. I think Quentin Ives is going to be more ground and pound. I'm gonna pound you over, while Emmett's going to be a more shifty guy. But we got guys coming in, too, that I think are going to be able to produce next year at a freshman level. I do believe we got at least 1 portal guy as a running back, but I can't remember. I have to look into that. But I do think Quentin Ives, and Johnson can carry the load. But we're gonna have at least a couple more backs that we're gonna need to be ready to go and to back up when we need them, because we know injuries happen. It seems like it happens to our running backs every year. But I think with Emmett Johnson and Quentin Ives, I feel comfortable with that. With those two guys as our 1-2 this next year.
Yeah.
So
and maybe somebody will pop up. Maybe Dana will really like somebody right off the hop in fall camp or something, and somebody will blow up.
Yeah, yep. So we'll see. Great question, though. Really good question, because I think that's one thing we haven't really talked a lot about is our running back depth, knowing that who we have leaving. But that is a really good question. I do think Ives and Johnson are going to carry the majority of the load.
Yeah. No, you're right, Casey. I mean, I thought we played pretty well on D, but the one area that we weren't very good at was 3rd and longs. We could not get off the field a few times on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15. But a lot of new faces in there. So at least some guys got some playing time that maybe haven't, or got some bowl experience.
Yeah.
Only going to make things better moving forward.
Well, and here's the thing. If you look at the overall stats in that game, they won on almost every statistical category.
Right.
They had more first downs. They were 50% on 3rd downs, 6 to 12. We were 3 of 11. But we were 3 for 4 on 4th down. So we did have three 4th down conversions, which is better than usual. Total yards, they beat us by 85 yards total. They had more passing yards. But again, Raiola was 75% completion for 236 yards. I'm not going to squawk at that. 236 yards, 7.4 per pass. He threw an interception. But 75%, I'll take it. Their guy had 41 passes, but only completed 26. So I think that's a win, yardage aside.
Right, and if the conditions are a little different, maybe he connects on one or two of those deeper balls.
Yep. But we had 80 more yards rushing than they did, so 127 to 47. So that's a big difference. Penalties,
especially in a game in conditions like that.
Oh yeah, well the run game had to be successful for us to win that game, and the fact that we were able to stop the run and they didn't have a great pass game really helped us win that game.
Yeah.
But they won the turnover margin. We had more penalty yards, more penalties. And then we had our blocked punt. They had the blocked extra point, got 2 points there. So, everything just that could have gone the Nebraska way went the Nebraska way in a bad way.
The final result of the game.
So, I mean, we've seen results this year where we won almost every statistical category against Iowa, and we didn't win the game.
Yeah.
We lost almost every statistical category here, and we won the game. So, again, I'm not happy about the way the game ended. They got 13 points in the 4th quarter. We got none. So we scored in the 2nd. We scored in the 3rd. I'm not even upset about no points in the 1st, but we got to at least score in the 4th quarter. But I do think it's a big momentum builder going into 2025 to end the season with a W.
I think up 20-2 in the 4th quarter seemed like we kind of had that game well enough in hand. I think enough was thought about to where they put potential. I don't know. I didn't go back and watch the game and
just
kind of play, but they may have just kind of coasted through it. Players and coaches, they may have played other, guys that hadn't been playing. Who knows?
That is one we got a lot more of the guys on defense playing.
That's what I mean.
And the young guys playing. Again, Quentin Ives, I think it was more just situational. We didn't see.
Because I texted right before that and I said, give it to Rahmir again because I wanted him to
be right.
I wanted him to score another touchdown.
Yeah. Well, and we didn't get to see Carter Nelson.
He played.
Yeah, I didn't really see him make any plays.
No, I think it was either a pass thrown to, or no. I think they didn't call it intentional grounding. But Raiola threw outside and Carter went inside. Yep. So there was some miscommunication there. That was the only time I heard them say his name, though.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah. So and that's fine. I mean, we know. I hope we do see a lot of him this next year because between getting him, we got Vincent Shavers, we got Willis McGahee, we got Cortez Mills coming. Then you have Raiola, you got Emmett Johnson, you got Quentin Ives. Ja'Cory Barney. We have all these guys that, to me, is super exciting for the young class coming in.
Plus, we got that receiver from Kentucky.
Yeah, Dane Key. Dane
Yeah.
Key committed. We got Chase Lofton out of Millage South.
What?
Yeah. Oh, never mind.
No,
He went
to
Florida
Florida
State.
State.
Sorry. Went to Florida State. I'm going to try to see who that running back is that we got.
He's, I think you're in the state.
I am. This is stupid.
I think, is he out of St. Louis or KC?
No, there's a guy that scored in the state championship here in Nebraska. But again, as far as offense, getting Cortez Mills, Christian Jones, I'm super excited about him. Man,
Yeah, he got linebacker of the year.
Isaiah Mosey coming over as well. That Caden Vermas, I believe he can run the ball too, if I remember correct.
Connor Booth is the kid.
Connor
from
Booth, that's the
Wahoo.
one I'm thinking about. The Wahoo
That's not
running
who
back.
I'm thinking of, though.
That's what I was thinking about. I think Connor Booth is going to be a pretty solid third or fourth guy on the list. We did get that transfer quarterback from Purdue, which I think will be a good option to have outside of Raiola. So excited to get him. We gotta look. I'm looking more at not even our defense. I think we're getting some studs on defense. And again, looking at what our defense did. Looking at what our defense did yesterday against Boston College and really just stepped up with all the guys that left. I think that's a huge. That should be a huge boost for the guys coming in too. Guys like Christian Jones, and then you're gonna have Shavers and McGahee starting next year. We're gonna have a young defense, but I think our young defense is a stud defense. And Donovan Jones, I mean, again, I didn't even know who he was, and I was extremely impressed with his coverage, extremely impressed with his tackling. Sayre Wright is still here. So, we got guys that I think are going to make an impact early on next year on the defensive side of the ball, and that makes me excited. It really does.
No, I'm right there with you.
Wide receiver from Cal.
Jamarion Parker was the running back I was thinking of. He's from St. Louis. We'll see.
Yeah, Carter guys red shirt throughout this year. He'll play next year. I'm excited though. I think.
That wide receiver from Cal.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think we got some good coaches coming too. The coach from Kentucky, the wide receiver coach. I think that's a big pickup for us.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We talked with when we talked to Kyron Williams about what are some things he sees that could change with the team, and one of the things he pointed out was position coaches. And specifically, he talked about wide receiver. He's like, you got to have solid position coaches, and wide receiver is one of those. And we didn't have a solid wide receiver coach. If you're not teaching and coaching blocking on the outside, but you want to run plays to the outside, you're already behind the eight ball.
Well,
And that was very visible.
And it was just visibly different yesterday. I mean, seeing, like you were saying, that pancake block from Harvard, I saw that one. But there was another one. It was kind of the same thing, and it's like that's what we should have been doing. If you wanted to run all those screens, that's what we needed to be doing then.
100%.
I did hear a story. I don't know how true it is, and I don't remember all the details, but that Satterfield didn't like Emmett Johnson.
Well, I think that's pretty obvious.
When he essentially lost his OC title, that he went off on him in front of all the other running backs at practice. And it was confirmed by other running backs that this happened. And so I don't know if he's, because what was he, tight ends coach or something?
Who went off on him? Emmett went off on him?
No, Satterfield said, now that I lost that, I want to tell you how much I effing hate you.
Well, I mean,
we know because you didn't play him.
Yeah, and I hope you're not back next year.
Yeah, I hope you're not.
Because if you got that much beef with a college kid, I'm sorry, you don't deserve to be a coach.
And
be a coach, be a role model.
Yeah, what beef do you have with him other than you didn't play him, and when we played him, when we decided to play him, we actually were better.
You know what I'm guessing probably happened is Emmett probably challenged him. I was like, why the hell am I not playing?
Right.
I'm the best running back. You need to put me in the game.
Right.
And he's like, I know the offense. Like, I can almost see that unfolding with Satterfield and how anytime he talked in post game, how dumb he sounds.
Right.
Like, I could almost see that him being challenged and that happening.
Yeah.
And again, if those kind of things are happening on the field and it's being confirmed, you can't bring that guy back.
Yeah.
You just can't. You can't bring a coach that's so into himself. You can't. So, Let's see. Giving up 300 yards in a bowl game is worrying, and losing Ty and Nash against the run is worrying. D may not be what it's been the last couple of years. Vince, this is on YouTube. Vince, I don't disagree. I actually do. Yeah, again, 300 yards passing, but again, 47 yards rushing. I think for me, personally, you got to kind of weigh both, especially when you're not giving up points in the pass game. Till late in the game, of course, you don't want that either. But
new DC, first.
Again, worrying. Yes,
game.
in a bowl game with the depleted defense. No Jabari Butler. Elijah Judy had a great game too. By the way, he played really well out there.
Yeah.
But I think, I think there's some worry there, of course, because we are going to be younger on defense. I don't think it's going to be as stout as it has been. But one thing I also think on the defense, Vince, is Gifford was highly overrated. Bullock I love Bullock's hustle. I love his. He's a good strength on that defense, but he's not one of our best linebackers. He can't cover a receiver. They had him covering tight ends too. We don't have linebackers that can cover in the pass game.
No, they're way better in the run. Those types of guys were better in the run game.
But I do think guys like Vincent Shavers, I think Christian Jones, I think Willis McGahee have better speed. They have more of a safety build, more of a safety in a corner build than a linebacker build.
Nickel, maybe
kind of like an athlete. Like they're athletes. Like they are pure athletes that I think are going to be better in coverage. Personally, but I don't discredit what you're saying. I do believe. I'm glad we stopped the run game and we made them pass, but then to still give up 300 yards passing it's a little worrisome. I don't disagree. And I think the defensive line is a big worry for me. The defensive and offensive line are two big worries.
Yeah, and I mean we have some recruits coming in at those positions, but they're going to have to bulk up, and it's going to take maybe a year. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe we see some of them, but we might need to get a couple bodies up front on both sides of the ball from the portal.
Yeah, 100%. And I know we've gotten a few.
I think we did. We think we got. There was like 3 that we were kind of hoping for on the O line. Yeah. I think we got one of those guys.
Yeah.
We got the kid from Missouri. Yeah. That was one of the highest recruits. So, I mean, I know he didn't play much this year at Missouri as a true freshman, but I thought maybe he was going to choose Nebraska initially anyway. Yeah. So,
but he's coming. I think we got options again at the defensive offensive line. Yeah, we got to bulk up, but I'm hoping you combat some of that defensive change and maybe it not being 100% our strength every single game and having to rely on them to win us games.
Yeah.
With a change in the offense and how much the offense is going to hopefully improve next year with some key guys coming in. Raiola in year 2, new offense coordinator, new wide receiver coach, new wide receivers, to pair that with Corey Barney, with Carter Nelson, with Harburg now, with hopefully Fedoni getting better coaching on blocking and running routes.
Techniques.
Maybe just his knee being a little bit better. I don't know. But I think you can combat some of the defensive downfall, if you will, with hopefully better offense putting up more points.
Yeah, and
maybe.
The kind of bummer thing about college football now and really college sports in general is just how different the team is from one year to the next. You bring guys in from the portal for a year, they're great, or you have a great player and then they leave, and so it's like every year it's just like a complete turnaround. I really hate that about the sport, about the game these days.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, a lot of these guys, as long as all these guys stick around, which I think most, if not all of them will, I'm excited for next year, and it will look a little different, but that might not necessarily be a bad thing because it looked different this year.
Yeah,
we won more games.
True. The bowl game.
We just need to still figure out a way to overcome these excruciating losses by self-inflicting wins.
Yes. Another question for Vince. You talked about DBs being like our worst position group on defense. I'd say Malcolm Hartzog was probably outside of our linebackers. Our linebackers, I think, were probably worse than our DBs, to be honest. But I do think Malcolm Hartzog was probably our worst cover guy.
Yeah.
Tommy Hill, if he didn't get injured, Tommy Hill probably would have been an All-American. I think he was set up to have a really good year until he got hurt. But I also think
Sierra Wright
Sierra Wright
really
came
well
in,
coming in.
played fantastic. He was fantastic. So Megan Butler going from DB coach to defense coordinator. I think we see this a lot, not just in college but in NFL, where you might be a really maybe bad position coach. But when you look at the whole entire defense as a defense coordinator or offense coordinator, you go from head coach to offense coordinator. Some guys go from offense coordinator to like a head coaching job and they suck. Guys like Cliff Kingsbury, look at him. They're like, he's a mastermind. He goes to the NFL. Now he's an offense coordinator and he's great. He does a great job as an offense coordinator. And I think Scott Frost, head coach at UCF, he was successful. Here, not so much, but I still think as an offensive coordinator, he probably would have been really successful, college or NFL, to be honest, but probably start college. But there are guys that are meant to be position coaches, guys that are meant to be a whole package coach. And so I'm hoping, again, I'm skeptical too on Butler, but I'm hoping that we see him just be a better defensive coordinator than he was a position coach.
Yeah.
That may be a better strength of his. I don't know. Time will tell. So I get that, Vince, 100%. I do agree that is. I've heard, and I think Casey, you might have even been one of the guys that said it too. Like, why, way to promote the guy from our DBs who's one of our worst position groups to the defensive coordinator. Like, what are we doing? But so I can't. I totally disagree with that. I think there's going to be skepticism, and we'll have to kind of wait and see what he does with our new with the new guys. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I was talking to somebody about that the other day, Casey. It's like you not only have to recruit new players, but you have to recruit your own all year just to keep them. Because you could have we see it we see it all the time, even like starting quarterbacks, starting running backs.
Yep.
They're going for cash grabs these days.
Well,
can't really hate on them for it either. I mean, it sucks, but
you can, but it just is what it is. Like, look at Cam Ward. All I'm going to do is go and play until I get the record for the most TDs in a career, and then I'm going to bounce and not play anymore the rest of the game, the second half. So you just abandon your team in the second half, and people are like, the coach shut him down. No, the coach didn't shut him down. If he wanted to play, he would have said, "No, I'm playing. I'm going to go win this game." He didn't care.
No, he didn't care if they won that game.
He didn't care.
He's going to go get paid.
Yep. And that's
he's going to be one of the top picks. But if that's the case, then just don't play the game. But you want to get the record.
He wanted to go in and play half to get the record in a bowl game. Like,
whatever.
It is what it is. You're going to see more and more of that moving forward. It sucks, but again, as a teammate, I'd be like, "Yo, screw you, man!" Like, I give him the big middle finger and say, "I don't want to see you after the game. Just go to the locker room, change your clothes, and leave. Like, if you don't want to be with us, then don't be here."
Yeah.
Like as a teammate. Like, no, I don't want you. I don't want you on the sideline. I don't want you in the locker room. I don't want to talk to you after the game, win or lose. You guys this far just to abandon us. Like, way to go.
Yeah, well, and we watched,
that's not a leader.
We watched the game with some friends yesterday, and they like to watch the Husker games, but they're not really like big into football and stuff. And so, I was telling him, he's like, "Is Boston College good?" And I was like, "He's like, they have a better record than us." And I was like, "Well, they have their best player on defense. He led the country in sacks, and he's opting out." And he's like, "He's not playing?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, does that happen?" And then we were talking about the playoff games, and he's like, do guys opt out of those games? And I was like, not really yet.
Not starters, really.
But down the line, who knows? Mm-hmm. But
yeah, it's again that culture of college football is changing. Where money's a big deal. It's a big deal, and these kids are going to go make their money.
Well, because they're not all going to go to the NFL. So if you have an opportunity to make money,
well, look at Pavia from Vanderbilt. Dude, you beat Bama, and now you think you're the top dog in the world. Your team went 6-6. You won a bowl game against a crappy Georgia Tech team who also almost beat Georgia, but you won the game. And then you sit there smoking a cigar like you're king of the country. Like, dude, you should be done after this year.
Yeah, it's BS.
But then he sues the NCAA saying, wait, but he was at his third school already. So he played JUCO for 2 years. He went to another school. Now he's at Vandy. And he's still, like, dude, get on with your life.
Yeah.
could get like what's your degree? Which I don't know. Like again, you can argue this too. Like your degree doesn't always get you a job. Your degree doesn't always mean anything because you might not go into that. But like what are you gonna do after that year? Because you might make some money, but you're not gonna be set for life. You got to have a plan. You might be set for a little while, but you're not a good quarterback. You suck. You're 6-6, and you beat Bama. Congratulations. You're the worst in the SEC
hilarious.
next to Oklahoma. But like he decides he's going to sue the NCAA. I don't like it. I don't get it, and I'll be mad about that all the time.
So, if you want to keep talking about Nebraska, we can, or whatever. Whatever else you want to.
So Cam Ward has the record till Dylan Gabriel plays, so he has it for a
Exactly.
week. Yeah, good
Exactly.
point. Hey, I didn't even think about that, Vince.
Exactly.
Good point. Thanks.
So,
but before we go there, so
okay.
I do like Joel's comment because as a Cubs fan, I do agree. You let some of the players go that were used to that curse of just losing over and over again. You lose those
even
guys.
if we liked those players.
Well, and here's what I think too. Now you have it to where the culture that Matt Rule is trying to set for this team is a winning culture. You start to bring in some of these young guys who want to be there, who want to buy in. Guys like your Harburgs, your Robinsons, your Nashes, guys that want to win. Your guys like Jamari Butler, your guys like James Williams, guys that are leaving. Kobe Bretz goes back into the portal after coming out of the portal. Those types of guys, adios.
Right.
And spare me the bullshit of once a Husker, always a Husker with your sad ass notes. You're
Who
not
said
a Husker.
that?
All of them do. They write their notes and say respect my decision. Once you leave Nebraska, you're not a Husker anymore.
You could say, thank
Unless-
you, Nebraska. I loved my time here. I'm moving on. Thanks for everything.
Business decision because we know it's about
Right.
money. The only exception would be like a grad transfer. Like Adrian Martinez, you're always a Husker, dude.
Yeah, that's fine.
100%. You're a grad transfer.
He
I wish
needed-
you would have stayed, but you needed to
He
go.
needed a change, and Nebraska needed a change. So that was.
And his girlfriend was there, so-
it was completely fine.
But like when you decide to hit the portal and leave the team and say once a Husker, always a Husker, stop that bullshit.
Yeah.
And I've heard multiple analysts say the same thing. Like, no, you're not always a Husker. No, you're not always this and this because you're not.
Wandale Robinson's not a Husker.
No, you're not. You're not. Once you leave the team and you hit the transfer portal and you decide to leave, you are no longer a Husker.
Yeah.
Like, good for you. And it is what it is. Like, I don't care that you're leaving, but don't write me a sad ass note saying you love this, always loved the Huskers, always loved your teammates. If you did, you wouldn't be leaving.
Yeah.
You would stay. You would fight for a position. You'd fight for a starting spot. You'd work harder, work to be better.
Well,
but these kids aren't going to do that.
Unless you're somebody that didn't play, and the coaches said
We don't have a spot for
we
you.
don't have a spot for you. You know, you might want to consider looking for some options in the portal, and then those guys do that, and then they go play at, I don't know, Texas State or something, whatever.
There are plenty of those
And-
guys.
Yeah, and that's fine. And then
Jamari
if they want to
Butler,
say, I really loved my time here, thanks everybody, Husker Nation.
Yeah.
Whatever. Cool.
Yeah. But Jamari Butler, James Williams, no, you're not always a Husker. I liked both of you guys, and I
Same.
want you to be successful wherever you go. But you're not a Husker anymore. You're not a black shirt anymore. Mm-hmm. If you were, you would stayed, and you'd be a part of that next culture. But again, you think about culture, you think about winning. Now we get these young guys that come in that are in the hunt. Hey, I got to play in that bowl game as a freshman, and I'm a redshirt freshman. And guess what? I got 4 more years of eligibility. I want to be part of that winning culture. I want to go win some damn games. I want to go to the college football playoff.
Yeah,
That attitude is what we have on the team now with these young guys that are freshmen, sophomores.
I think so.
And that's what Dylan Raiola has to lead.
And
That
that's
is-
why you see Dylan Raiola running around,
Yeah.
throwing his arms up, getting fans excited and whatever. I know people are like, I hate this guy even more. People on Twitter are like, I hate this guy even more for doing this when they won a Pinstripe Bowl. And it's like, got to change it somehow.
You got to start winning at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we got to change the culture somehow, some way, at some point. And we won. We had a winning season. So
And
it's okay.
that was kind of the funny thing. It's like even Husker fans like, oh, like grow up, you won the Pinstripe Bowl. Like, dude, we haven't won out of winning seasons in 2016. Like these kids should be excited. I don't care. You won a bowl game. That's exciting.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what bowl game it is. And the fact that they're excited that they won a bowl game talks to you about the change in the culture. means it wasn't just a bowl game. It wasn't a meaningless bowl game because it means something to the kids that played that
100%.
game. It means something to Vincent Shavers. It means something to Willis McGahee. It means something to Donovan Jones. It means something to Dylan Raiola. It means something to Quentin Knives. It means something to all these young kids, Ja'Cory Barney, that are getting to play in a bowl game for the first time as freshmen and sophomores
That's why
because they want to do it again.
Dylan came here, because he wanted to go to the same place his dad played when that place was really good. The place isn't very good anymore. He wants to bring that back.
Yeah.
And guess what? The first season, went to a bowl game and won.
Yep.
So,
And guess what? Christian Jones.
Same thing.
I see him as a leader on the defense coming in next year as a freshman.
yeah.
I see him, Vincent Shavers, Willis McGahee. Those three guys, to me, are game changers on the offense. Cortez Mills, game changer on the offense. So I truly believe we have guys coming in that are going to change the culture to a winning culture, and not just we're going to win now. We're going to continue winning for the future.
Well, and the fact that we made changes at both coordinator positions. One we had to, and
Oh, I love Phil Simpson, by the way.
yeah.
Hell yeah, love the guy. If you listen to him talk and how he's coming in and
Yeah.
talking to these guys, absolutely love what he's doing. He did in the practice too, leading up. And Joel, it is Sunday, so amen, buddy, amen. We ain't in church no more, but I feel so strongly about it because there's so many good things that can happen with this team moving forward if Rule and staff are building that culture, and I believe they're doing it.
Yeah.
And Rule is a man of his word. He talks the talk. He walks the walk. He doesn't stray from the path. He has a plan.
And if it's not working, he's changing.
Yeah. And one thing we know, special teams is going to have to change. But, like,
That
I'm
better
excited.
change.
So, all right. Whew, Husker football. Go Big Red.
That's all worked
Again,
out.
very excited. A couple things I want to talk about. Colorado got spanked yesterday.
Yes, that was
which was hilarious. But, like, what I do have to give credit to is Shedeur and Travis going out and playing their bowl game.
Yeah. I don't know why they did.
I don't care where they get picked. I really don't. Like, they're going to get picked. We don't have any say in that. But the fact that both of them going out, if they are top 5 draft picks, they truly are, and going out and playing in their bowl game, guess what? They got a lot of extra insurance. Good for them. But, man, Shedeur took some hits and got tackled at the legs a couple times. And I'm like, oh, dude, like, if you break your leg and you play in this game, like, that insurance, yeah, that helps you. But if you broke your leg, you might not be playing for a year. But, like, Travis looked horrible. Yeah, he had some reception yards, but imagine if that guy just focused on being a receiver. Like, as a DB, man, he was getting carried by the running backs. He was getting carried by the receivers. He was pulling up on tackles. He didn't want to hit anybody.
I wouldn't either if I were him.
But, like, why play then?
Then why play? And he had a touchdown. Cool.
Yeah.
He had a couple little dance moves that he looked pretty shifty in. But it's like, everybody's seen that.
Yeah.
It didn't make a difference. You guys were losing by so many points already. Anyway.
Jonty's still my Heisman guy, but
Same.
But here's the thing, like, kudos to him for playing. Shiloh did a little dance after, like, having a pass breakup, but then he got a pass interference call.
Yeah,
and he did a little
hilarious.
dance. It's like, dude, that was pass interference or holding, and you're down 17-0. Like,
He's terrible.
Stop dancing.
I'm sorry. I think he's terrible.
So I don't know. It was just kind of funny to me, but I love that BYU absolutely spanked them.
Same.
Put them in their place. One thing I want to do we talk about the upcoming bowl games, upcoming playoff. So we have some interesting matchups coming up this week. We got Boise and Penn State. We all know that Penn State just has to stop Jonty, really. Boise.
So does everybody knows that.
Boise's quarterback sucks. Penn State defense is going to be a little bit better than what they saw.
Penn State D is pretty good.
They're pretty solid. So I'm looking forward to see what Boise does on the offensive side of the ball and what they come up with their game plan to, hey, if we're not going to be able to, Johnny's probably not going to get 200 yards. Now, Penn State defense is not Oregon defense. Penn State defense is much better to me and stronger than Oregon defense. It's a different defense. They're both good, but I think Penn State's a much different up front on the line and linebackers than Oregon is. So interesting to see what Jonty can do early in that game, establish the run game, hopefully open up some of the pass game as well. I'd be surprised if Boise wins. I would love to see it, but I got it a close game. I'm saying it's going to probably be a 6-point game in Penn State's favor.
Okay. I mean, Penn State's offense isn't great. No, I mean, yeah. If you want to go through the upcoming games, I was going to maybe try to talk about some of the games from last week, just to get your overall opinion. I mean, obviously all the home teams won.
Yeah.
And I was seeing people saying like, why 12's too much? Why would, or they need to change the whole home field advantage thing. And it's like, no, they 1,000% should keep the home field advantage.
They should keep home field advantage for the second round too.
I'd
love it.
That would be awesome.
So fun.
No, so I just was curious what your thoughts. Obviously, the games were not very good.
Tennessee got spanked. Tennessee took the worst loss of anybody,
and it was great.
And then
as much as I hate Ohio State,
then ESPN and your Paul Feinbaum go on and try to defend it. It's like, dude, you guys took the worst. You can tell me all you want that SMU, Clemson, Indiana didn't belong. Those games were closer than Tennessee getting spanked by Ohio State.
And you guys were talking shit after Friday night, after Saturday morning, after Saturday afternoon. And then Tennessee took the worst loss. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I hate Ohio State. We know we do. But I was Big Ten backers, or Ohio, now it's the Buckeye backers. Like, I was messaging him like, dude, I actually love this. This is great. And he's like, don't jinx it. He was there at the game. And I'm like, he's like, don't jinx it. I'm like, dude, this game is over. And then I had a pick or something. Like, Tennessee just got spanked. I loved it.
Ohio State had 21 points in the first quarter. That was as many points as we gave up to Ohio State.
It was 21-0.
We were beating Ohio State in the fourth quarter at Ohio State.
Yeah. And this is the playoff game. Yeah.
So.
Oh, cracked me up. But yeah, then you got
Elaine crying on Twitter, of course.
Now, Ross, I'm not one of those guys. Jimmy might be, but I'm not always, hey, root for the Big Ten. But when it comes to Missouri and Iowa, I want Iowa to win because it's Missouri.
And they're in the SEC.
If
it's Big Ten versus SEC, I'm definitely going to cheer for the Big Ten.
Yeah, of course, Big Ten is having the best bowl season of any league right now.
And Rutgers really...
And we have the most teams.
Really, we do. Rutgers had a decent lead on K-State and ended up blowing it.
Yeah. But USC came back on like a 17-point dog, and they ended up beating. Yeah,
I did want them to beat A&M. Sorry.
So another Big Ten SEC matchup. So that's again Big Ten over SEC. Again, SEC wants to But
this
then
year,
they'll say bowl games don't mean anything.
This year, I kind of usually, Ross, I'm not. There's teams that I don't like that I typically never cheer for.
Yeah.
And won't unless it benefits Nebraska. But this year, with how much Kirk Herbstreit and all these guys have been talking about the SEC, I want the SEC to lose every game they possibly can. I want the Big Ten to win as many games as possible.
And can someone tell Lane Kiffin to get off Twitter?
Yeah, what are you doing?
You lost to Kentucky
at home,
and you lost to Florida.
Yeah.
You lost to two crappy SEC teams, and just like Bama, you think you belong in the playoff.
That was Kentucky's only Power 4 conference win, or Power conference game that they won. It was their conference win, but it was the only Power 4 win that they had.
And now you got Bama's AD coming out and say we're going to rethink how we schedule games.
You guys already have 8 games. Everybody else does 9.
But that doesn't matter. You lost to your SEC foes. You didn't lose to out-of-conference teams.
Right.
You lost to teams in your conference, bottom-of-the-barrel teams. You don't deserve to be in the playoff with 3 losses.
And that doesn't mean that your conference is deeper. It's just more spread out now because people are throwing money around.
Yes. And you can argue strength of schedule all you want. We all know strength of schedule is subjective. ESPN makes up strength of schedule. No one else makes that up. They make the rankings. It is all ESPN and college football and NCAA making up these rankings, but it's ESPN based. So strength of schedule, just because you start number 1 at the beginning of the season does not mean at the beginning of the season you're the best team in college football. No. It does not. Alabama showed that this year. You're not a top 5 team. You're not a top 10 team. You're not even a top 20 team, in my opinion.
Definitely not top 12.
Ole Miss, you're not a top 20 team. I don't care what the SEC thinks they are.
Right.
Until you win your in-conference games, it doesn't matter. Indiana won their conference games.
Yep.
SMU won their conference games. You can't downfall their wins because they went 11-1 and say, oh well, who'd they play? It doesn't matter. They're winning their Big Ten games. Right. Who did you play? You lost to Oklahoma.
Who was on their schedule? I mean, it's the same for Colorado.
Yeah.
The good teams Colorado played this year, or even okay teams, which I'll throw us into that mix, exposed them for what they were. They had an easy schedule. And they had some exciting games, don't get me wrong, but those teams weren't that good. Yeah. But no, even Saban, after they announced the playoff teams, he's coming out and he's like, well, then they should just start scheduling the easiest schedule they can possibly do. And it's like, okay, do what you want, I guess. But you guys already only play 8 conference games.
Play 9 conference games.
Yeah.
Win your conference games. Stop playing Mercer. Stop playing Fordham.
Or
stop playing the Iowa School
maybe,
of Deaf and
maybe
Blind.
do that, but do that at the beginning of the season, not 2 weeks before the end of the season. That's BS.
But because then they destroy Mercer and Alabama goes and loses to Oklahoma. That wasn't a game they should have played. Stop playing. You're not playing that game.
They do that so that they don't slip up at that time and lose to an Oklahoma or a Vanderbilt
or their Auburn game,
something like that. They guarantee that they're going to. That's why they shouldn't play those games.
So the SEC can suck it.
Yes,
I do believe Notre Dame is going to beat Georgia.
I picked that in our pick'em.
I do believe Notre Dame's defense is going to absolutely just
and Georgia's
up.
favored, and I'm like, with the backup quarterback against that Notre Dame D, I think Notre Dame's going to win. As much as it pains me to say, I might actually cheer for them. For you, Pootie.
It doesn't even pain me to say. Like, I'm excited because I don't want Georgia to go out there. Texas is the new SEC team, and now Texas is going on to play. So, like, I don't know. SEC can just, again, they can suck it. You're not as good as you think you are.
And you know what? Texas better watch out for Arizona State. I may end up eating my words on that
Dude,
one.
no, 100%.
From the last few times I watched them, they look pretty good.
Scadaboo.
He's a beast.
Dude, he's like, someone compared him yesterday. Booger McFarland. Don't like the guy at all. But Booger McFarland compared him to, like, a Christian McCaffrey, Marshawn Lynch, and who is the Stanford running back?
Toby Gerhart.
He compared him to those 3 guys. He's like, this is who Scadaboo is.
I'm surprised he was able to come up with that. He's not very bright.
Yeah, but he's like, I'm like, that's you got McCaffrey's speed. You got Toby Gerhart's toughness and willing to battle through tackles, and Marshawn Lynch is just a bulldozer. Like,
yeah, that's funny.
But I'm like, that's a weird like combination of a running back. But if you watch Scadaboo play, 100%, like they could beat Texas. I would love for Arizona State to win. I'm actually, if I were to pick that game, I'm gonna take Arizona State by 3.
Okay, that'd be sweet.
I'm gonna take Penn State by 6.
Okay.
Spread of 6, not by 6, but spread. But I think they win.
Okay.
I think Notre Dame wins.
I think Notre Dame could win by double digits.
They might.
And I think they could.
Who's our other game?
Ohio State and Oregon. It's a tough one.
Both teams are better than when they play each other the first time.
Agreed.
Both teams are better. I want Oregon to win.
So do I.
As much as other Big Ten fans might not want the newcomer to win,
I
really just hate Ohio State.
Right.
And I like Dan Lanning. I do. He's just one of those like cocky badass coaches, but not over the top. But I've liked him ever since he's like, hey, we're not here for clicks.
Yes, I didn't like him until that happened last year against Colorado. No, I think in mine, I picked Texas to win, Penn State to win, Oregon and Notre Dame. But I would be okay with Oregon, Notre Dame, and then, if Boise wins against Penn State, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I definitely want Arizona State to beat Texas.
Really anybody but Texas and Georgia.
Yeah.
We should just say that. Anybody
and maybe
but Texas
Ohio
and
State.
Georgia. I don't want Ohio State, but I don't think Ohio State's good enough to make it to the championship game.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think Tennessee was overrated to begin with. Again, the SEC,
time.
they're hyped up.
And, that was the other thing that they kind of shifted the narrative on. They said, well, Tennessee really wasn't that good. They didn't have that tough of a schedule. A team like Alabama, Ole Miss, or even South Carolina would have been better. A lot of hypothetical wins last weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of hypothetical wins.
The SEC, like we're the champions of off-season hype. Nebraska is.
Oh, big time.
SEC is the champion of hypothetical wins.
Yeah.
And hypothetical playoff scenarios and bowl scenarios. Congratulations on your hypothetical championship.
You might as well have just had your own SEC.
Dude, seriously,
playoff.
just
that's fine.
Get away from everybody else. We don't like you anyways, and go play your own championship if that's what you really want, and claim yourself kings of football. But the game's changing, the landscape is changing, and that's what I do love about what's changing is you're going to see a bit more parity in football.
Yeah, it sucked that the games went the way they did last week. I wish they would have been closer. I mean, the Clemson in Texas was the best one. It was the closest one.
Yeah.
Indiana, they just didn't have a very good.
They
game.
made things interesting in the end.
Yeah, they didn't look good, but
Nope.
they had an off day, and that. I mean, Alabama lost 24-3 to Oklahoma. They had an off day. That's what.
And that's again.
SMU, they did not play very well, but that you can't take away anything that they did throughout the season.
It's why you play the games.
Yeah.
That's why the regular season matters so much.
Yeah, and when it hits playoff, some guys that just get on a different level.
Yep.
And you might not have been that way 3 weeks ago in a bad conference game that you guys barely won.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or against a bad conference opponent.
100%. 100%. I am glad to see Dabo not moving on. Like, I just don't like Dabo. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't like.
I just
that.
like that them winning got Alabama knocked out.
Yes. 100%.
So
100%. 100%. So, all right, guys. I don't got much else. Again, I think I'm excited for these games this week. I don't know why they're doing 1 on Tuesday and 3 on Wednesday, but like, whatever. I ain't working, so I'll watch them all. Anyways,
which one's Tuesday?
Tuesday night, I think, is Penn State and Boise.
I guess that'll give me.
Then all the other 3 are on Wednesday.
Because I ain't doing nothing Tuesday night.
I don't get it, but we'll be watching the games. Probably be making some comments on our show too. So stay tuned. Not really sure what's next for us. Honestly, we haven't really talked much about what's coming up the rest of the year. We still have hockey going on with UNO. They start up here mid-January back home, so we'll probably start doing some stuff with them. And beer and baseball. So we got baseball right around the corner too.
I mean, we're kind of done, but kegs and eggs and football. Let's go.
We can do kegs and eggs and baseball. I mean, I'm sure we could do that too. So, but we got to make it to baseball games this year.
Okay.
Got to do it. So, yeah, Penn State Boise's Tuesday. Thanks, Casey, for confirming. But yeah, we got to go to a baseball game or two this year. Hey, big shout out to the volleyball team. Hell of a season. Didn't end the way you wanted to, but really, really good season. Can't take anything away. Lexi, we're gonna miss you. Mary,
yeah, I mean,
thanks for everything.
Gosh, that was like one of the best teams I could remember.
Yep.
And I can't believe they lost, but it is what it is.
It's okay.
And then Penn State won. It was like, oh, are you serious?
Yeah, but good for their coach.
Good for their coach.
All right, I don't have any more beer, but cheers to you guys. Happy Sunday. I'll stop preaching now, Joel. But Joel, Ross, Casey, thanks for joining. And Vince on YouTube, appreciate you watching. Go Big Red, as always. And we'll be seeing you around. And we'll get to Backswing here soon, too. We're thinking about maybe doing a trivia contest there. So if you're in the Omaha area, be on the lookout for some information, hopefully in the next few weeks. So, all right.
Cheers, Red Bowl champs, baby.
Whoop, whoop. Bowl game champs. We won a bowl game. We went to a bowl game.
I think it's safe to say that all these fans came out here to watch a game of football.
John, we're in commercial.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making conversation. Come on. Football!
33-0.
Come a running, boys. Don't you hear the noise? Like a thunder in the sky.
Yeah, he got sacked for a safety.
From the sons of Nebraska. Now it's coming near.
2 picks.
Now sweet ball blows away. So with all our bill, we're about to win. And we're going to win today.
27 of 32 for 359 and 5 touchdowns. It's the start of the fourth quarter.